Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I kind of put a zoom in there, zoomed in a little bit and stuff like that. And so this is I did this over the weekend. Um, Hopefully, Jean-Michel has caught my mistakes and made edits to it
I
because
did my
I sure
best,
didn't.
except the file name. I missed the file name.
The file name. Oh, okay. Well, I changed the title,
You changed
and
it, okay.
I changed the title. Oh, I'm in spelling because sometimes I will type pretty fast.
I didn't have
Um,
time to do it either, so I wanted
yeah.
to get that out to everybody in email.
So we'll just go over this quite quickly. This is really about two things: how to create posts and how to create engagement. Well, there's actually a third thing, and how to convert that engagement into meetings and stuff. And so day one, that's today. We're just going to go ahead and get started. We're talking about the overview of the strategy, what we're doing, talking about a couple of potential tools, and you don't have to be using all of them, but it's good to be aware of all of them. Understanding your call to action. So when you're creating a post, there's a reason to do that. An initial discussion, or creating kind of permission-based boosting activities. So you just don't want to randomly spam people or tag people unless they kind of know that they're going to be tagged and they kind of accepted it prior, and that's important. You want, because I hate when people tag me all the time, right? I'll do it for a few times, and after a while, I'm just busy and I don't have time to constantly, go on someone's post all the time. So there has to be a balance of what's normal in there. The Beep Together posting party, that's a very important thing that kind of guarantees a certain amount of interactivity. And if it's stacked, if you're doing a lot of work that day, you can get a lot of activity using that. It really depends on time versus money type thing. So in the day 2 to day 5, I'll just go through the titles, polishing off your first post and starting your second post. Day 3 is really about, is the first time we're actually going to run the posting party and the interactivity. So day 1 to day 2 is getting it ready, getting the thought process, getting your post ready and all that sort of thing. And then day 4 is a lot of Q&A. And this is just answering questions to kind of polish out what you have going on and then ideas for the future. Day 5 is the second posting party. And then at the end of day 5, or maybe the beginning, depending on how it rolls, we're going to give out some prizes. And some of the prizes are going to be pretty fun. Some are free courses. I forgot what they were. Let's take a look at the prizes if I can get to them. Ooh, my Google Doc is not cooperating. It didn't. I'll just scroll down there then. Maybe I should have just used a PDF. Google Docs are notoriously clunky when we're doing Zooms. Okay. Oh, maybe something's still loading here. Let me disengage this thing.
I think you have it at the very bottom of the doc.
There you go. Yeah, it's just getting a little stuck on this Google document here. Okay, so we got 3 top prizes. One is an interview about you, and then we're actually putting in our network. So short interview about what you do and all that sort of thing. And a free lifetime access on our LinkedIn courses and stuff. We're actually wrapping up some additional LinkedIn courses over the next several weeks too, so it'll be a lot larger. And then first place is all that, plus we'll audit your profile to tighten things up. If you want your LinkedIn banner to be redesigned, very visual portion. If you have a business problem, some free consulting, and then the other 2 items there. So that's pretty exciting, I wish we had a certificate for this program. Maybe we should have did that. That would have been awesome too. But we'll go ahead and scroll back up here. And forgive me if my computer is being difficult here. All right. Yeah, this is a little painful here. Tomorrow we're going to use a PDF. Okay, so I got this GIF, this animated GIF from Giphy. So I use that quite often, and it's a kind of a website there. So what we're going to talk about today is just the overview of the posting strategy. And then Jean-Michel and Ed, feel free to interrupt because I'll just keep on talking, you know, but
No,
no. Okay. So right now we have everyone that's posted their LinkedIn profile on there. Ed will get that together, and then I encourage you guys to connect with each other, unless you just don't want to. And we need to figure out when we're posting, you know, really what's the outcome? What is the desired outcome of what we want to do with posting? It's usually to drive relationships, understand that person better, or maybe eventually develop some kind of partnership or business. And so when we're creating this post, we want to create posts for a reason. You know, you want to have a particular objective in your head. And usually we have to use the dating method where we're not going to go ahead and ask for what we want. We want to kind of provide value. And it's not value for what we want, it's value for what our audience is looking for. And a lot of times we have to figure out when we're posting, how do I create this larger thing and chop it up into smaller ideas? And then what should my flow be as far as posting? And I'll give you an example. Mondays are sometimes what I call keep it real Mondays. This is what I call showing the scars, but not the wounds, you know. This is something that's happened to me. Maybe it's good or bad, but it's usually a problem that I solved. Maybe I lost a contract, you know, I thought I was going to close a contract and I didn't close this. What happened, you know? It's very educational. Or my client had this issue, and in order to solve this issue, we did A, B, and C. So those are really helpful things, and I just do that on Mondays. Maybe midweek, I do tips on LinkedIn, and tips are very easily digestible. There's one-offs where they can do something better. Sometimes it's even testimonials or an interview. A lot of times I'm on other people's podcast, and we're trying to give a story out. Fridays or the weekends typically are reserved for more personal nature. And how can I tie that personal nature to clients? So a lot of times I will have something about family, and people say, well, that has nothing to do with LinkedIn, Troy. Why are you posting something about something that's happened to family? Well, I want to attract other family-oriented individuals, and it gets a glimpse of your life in there. So they said, oh, I see this guy is not just a single bachelor guy trying to make a lot of money. He actually has a family, he has family values. So I want to work with people that have similar values to mine. And so I'm attracting my audience. And so those things are kind of important to me. I don't ever worry about selling. I think selling is a result of just helping individuals. So it's just this is a good side effect of helping other people. So you feel good, they feel good about it. And if someone feels good about what you're doing and they need something, there's really, when you're helping someone, there's only three things that could happen out of that. Number one, you put out good energy in the universe. And so they really can't talk bad about you. You helped them out. Good for you, you know. The second thing is whatever you've talked to them about or helped them and fix their problem, they're very grateful. But when they get into it and they're really trying to run their business or solve all these other problems, they find out that although you solved that one problem, there's 22 other problems maybe only Troy can fix, or Jean-Michel or Ed or any of the people, they may be able to fix that. The third thing is recommendations. You know, once, I'm sorry, did someone pop in there? I think I heard something there. Yeah, people can provide recommendations, and tooting your own horn is not as powerful as other people speaking to what you have going on. Now, the other thing we want to do is talk about the different types of postings. And I have a little visual right here. So when you're creating a post, people say, LinkedIn says all posts are equal. Well, they're not. And certain posts generally get more engagement than others and stuff, but there's a variety of stuff that you can do in it. We all know that you can create a photo with some text on it. We all know that we can create a video, but there's a lot of other things too, like you can upload a document, or someone has told me recently a PowerPoint presentation. Some work, some don't. I usually just create a PDF to send up that's designed 4 or 5 slides that have large words on that gives a whole idea, within those 4 or 5 slides. You can share that you're hiring. You can create a poll, and you can celebrate engagement. You can offer help or even find an expert. And so I want to just touch on this just so we kind of understand. If you're going to post a video, you tend to want to create a video from about 30 seconds to 1.5 minutes long. I think we have to 2 minutes long. So that's kind of average. 30 seconds to 2 minutes long is kind of what you want. Anything above 2 minutes, people kind of glaze over, and they kind of look at, they just drop off and that sort of thing, And then we want to talk about hashtags. 3 to 5 hashtags are really good. If you can get it to 3 seems to be primary now. Things always change. I think last year 8 hashtags was the best, but right now it's about 3 to 5. So when you're doing that, we need to understand the importance of a hashtag. Jean-Michel, you want to talk about the importance of a hashtag?
Sure. So just to put what we're doing in the 5-day challenge in perspective, guys. So you have to remember, we're posting on LinkedIn to create more visibility, and basically for what you do. Okay, so basically what's happening here, you're sending traffic to your personal profile and directly to your website. That's what's happening, right? So just to remind you, of course, your landing page for LinkedIn is going to be your personal LinkedIn profile. So make sure you've updated that, completed, optimized, branded your profile. That's always the first thing, right? We've talked about it in the previous shows. So you're sending traffic to your profile, you're sending traffic to your website, so people get to know you, right? Because if I read a great post that someone wrote, I'm going to be curious about who posted that great content, right? And you're going to get a profile view. And that's the strategy we've shared with you in a previous show as well. The beauty of LinkedIn now is LinkedIn, we record every profile, every person who views your profile back, right? So that's beautiful, right? Imagine that you would know every single visitor to your website. That would be amazing, right? Because you would know who to target and engage with. You would know who is interested in you and what you do. That's the beauty of LinkedIn. So we're creating engagement, interest with your post, with the possibilities, the opportunity to go viral on LinkedIn, so you can get thousands of views in a very short period of time. And the people that are really interested in what you do, they're going to view you back. They're going to engage. They may like your post, they may comment on your post, and or view you back. So that's where you follow up. That's what's going to generate business for you guys. So I want you to be aware of that, okay? Now, Troy is talking about hashtags. Hashtags are important because, number one, you need content in your post. We talked a little bit about that, whether you do a video or text post, right? You want enough content, enough keywords to help LinkedIn decide who to show it to, right? So a meme, for example, right? A meme, which is you see on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, is just basically an inspirational message on top of an image. It looks great, but it doesn't help LinkedIn to know what to do with it, right? Because nobody knows what an image is about, basically. So you need content, you need text, and also the hashtags will help you identify communities already on LinkedIn. So I want to show you a couple of things here, how to find the right hashtags for your needs, okay? I think I should be able to share my screen, Ed, right? Yeah, beautiful.
Sure.
Okay. So let me show you very quickly what hashtags are like and how you can find the right hashtags for your needs, okay? So let's start with, let's start with, I'm going to my homepage, right? And then I'm going to start a post. You can start identifying hashtags from there. You see at the bottom, there is a blue link, add hashtags. To start typing something. So let's see what's happening with business. Okay, business. LinkedIn is going to show you some of the popular hashtags, you know, with this keyword right now. So that gives you some ideas. So let me just grab one of those, business and leadership, for example, okay? Now I can do a search on LinkedIn for that hashtag. So I'm just going to go up here in the search box, right? Just type the hashtags, enter. So what's going to happen now is LinkedIn is going to show me all the posts that use that hashtags. Okay, so think of it as a collection or a community, right? It could be a career coach, a leadership, obviously a leadership coach that's using that hashtags to create that community, that awareness of a post. So why is it powerful for you? Because now you can study what your competitors are doing on LinkedIn. So you can find inspiration about what is trending on LinkedIn right now. What are my competitors posting that is getting good engagement on LinkedIn? You know, so 23 comments, you know, 20 likes on this post. And it was, so, you know, those are pretty decent engagements. But now you need to know how large that community is, and LinkedIn is not very good at showing that to you directly, but I'm showing you how to do it. So I'm going to click on one of those posts. And then I'm going to click on the hashtag itself. So you can see here, business and leadership. I'm going to click on that hashtag now from the post. Now I'm in the community. Okay, now you see now LinkedIn is showing me there is only 64 people who are following that particular hashtag. So guess what? Well, that's not a great hashtag for you. Okay, so you want to look for communities with millions of followers. So I'm going to show you another trick. And that's the beauty of LinkedIn now, particularly if you have really developed your LinkedIn profile. You know, so LinkedIn has a lot of information about you and what you do. So LinkedIn can recommend, can share great recommendation for you. So I'm going to show you how that works for me. So next to the hashtags on the top right corner, you see those three little dots. You're going to click there. And you're going to click Discover New Hashtags. And there is a magic, guys. So you see what's happening here is now LinkedIn, based on my profile, based on my search history on LinkedIn, based on my engagement with posts on LinkedIn, right? You know, Google does that, Facebook gives that, right? There's no privacy anymore. They know a lot about us, a lot more than we know about each other, right? About ourselves. So now LinkedIn is going to recommend company pages on LinkedIn that could be useful for me to follow, you know, in the subject that I'm interested. So is, for example, Leadership Circle, right? So this particular company page has 101,000 followers. I may want to piggyback on that community, right? If I'm a leadership coach, right? Also, LinkedIn is going to recommend influencers in my industry. So those are actually personal LinkedIn profile of influencers, right? So look at Edis, for example, right? She has 141,000 followers, okay? So she probably has some great posts I could find inspiration from or piggyback on or comment on, right?
Let's, Jean-Michel, let's go ahead and talk about what you just said, piggyback. So sometimes you have someone that you can't connect with and you want to follow, but they have a great audience. And that audience may be your prime audience. So engaging in posts and understanding who the other people are engaging is really important. Like these could be potential partners, customers, or other people of influence within what's important to you. Jean-Michel, thank you very much for showing that. I want to kind of speed this along a little bit And Ed, I want you to talk a little bit about the couple of the platforms. So there's two things that we're going to do here. There's three things we're going to talk about. One is joining other groups. One is the Beep Together kind of network that's going to guarantee a certain amount of engagement. And the third is we're going to use a hashtag. We may use two different hashtags just in case, because one is new. And Ed, do you want to go ahead and kind of talk about the Beep Together network and the importance of that?
Yep. And so one of the things that you guys, a couple of things that I'll mention, and I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Is how we boost our posts so that we get more engagement, and what type of posts that you should be, what you should avoid posting. And one of the things that you should avoid doing is any promotional posts. A lot of people think that they can do promotional posts on a social network. Social network's not designed for that. You're not going to get much reach, and LinkedIn is going to throttle your reach if you do anything promotional. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of promotional posts that I have done, and I didn't get much traction on any of them. Here's a talk that I did back in June, and I had a small reach of 128 people. Didn't get any likes, no comments, didn't get any activity at all. If I go to a promotion I did within LinkedIn, so they didn't leave LinkedIn at all. This is a webinar that I did, I think this is 5 months ago. I got some decent engagement here, not too bad, but again, 71 views. It's 71 views. I'm not going to get any action. One other time, another promotional post from me, did get good engagement here. And even, no, I don't think I used Beep Together at all here. But if you look, again, 348 people viewed that post. So you want to avoid promotional posts. This is a recent post that I did without using any boosting at all. And you can see here, there's decent engagement, but only 165 views. So I think I have one more example here. I think I made my point. So what we are going to be doing, again, not much as far as activity. What we're going to be doing is using a service called Beep2B, and what they do is they boost your posts. It's a community of people where there's 15 people in a pod. All 15 people then comment and like each other's posts. Welcome somebody new. And it's done within a short period of time. You need 15 likes and 15 comments, and then the algorithm with LinkedIn then begins to boost your post. So boosting it, meaning they start showing your post to more people. And if you get a lot of interaction, a lot of engagement on your first level people, it's very natural. That's one of the reasons why we want you to connect with everybody in this group. Now, Beep Together is our foundation for making this work. So it's important for you to sign up for it. It's not expensive, but you absolutely should sign up for it. What we're doing in the group is supplementing what we're doing with Beep Together. So we're going to have a hashtag right now. I looked at it earlier this morning. It hasn't been indexed yet by LinkedIn, so we may have to either change that hashtag, or we may have to find something else that may work. But I'm going to put a link in. Well, I can't do it right now. After I'm done talking, I'm put in a link to Beep Together. There's really two options you consider: the $29 a month option or the $49 a month option. If you just want to use it for the posting party, then it's just pick the $29 option. If you're going to, use it beyond this, and I'm going to show you why you should, then you should probably pick the $49 option. Now, here's an example of a post that went viral using Beep Together. I had 1,800 people vote on this post, and all of these people are leads to some degree for me. There were 85 comments, 85 likes, over 200 comments, 3 shares. Look at that, 91,000, almost 93,000 people were shown this post, and that is all Beep Together. Now, this doesn't always happen. This post went viral, but that's what can happen when you hit that metric of 15 likes and 15 comments in the first 2 hours. Here's another example. This is again a poll, but again, 48 likes, 106 comments, over 9,000 people this was shown to, and a good percentage of these people were prospects for me. I didn't have to do a poll to make this work. I could have just asked the question if they were aware of what was going on here. And then I'll do the final one here, and this one isn't a poll. But again, good engagement, 56 likes, 114 comments, 1 share, 4,500 views. So the difference between using Beep together and trying to do this on your own is almost a factor, well, it's more than a factor of 10. And then when you add on what our group is going to be doing, you should see thousands, you see your post being put in front of thousands of people. Some of you may reach 100,000 or more, but in order to do that, you have to combine the two. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to put the link to Beep Together.
Yeah, I put it in there a few times myself. Okay. And there's an ID so we can kind of track the people in the group and stuff. I'll say this, on average, for every 500 views, I could potentially book a meeting. Just think about that. You know, if you have the right call to action and you're going in the right direction, after X amount of people are viewing it, you're able to convert some of those. And it's a little different depending on industries. So sort of 500 is kind of a general metrics that I kind of use on that. So I think that there's a cheap version of that, and go ahead and sign up for that. If you can't, you still can participate. I'm just hoping that if you can't afford $29, what is it? $29? If you can't afford that, then it's you have a lot of other issues going on probably.
If a client isn't worth $29, then yeah, you do have some structural issues you need to consider.
Yeah,
it's very, and we're going to show you a lot of different ways to use this post once you have the social proof of all the engagement that you have on it. The value isn't what happens immediately. I just used a post that I had from over a year ago that had good engagement and ended up landing a client because they saw the post. It was a case study. They saw the engagement. They asked me a couple of questions, and then they ended up signing up as a client. So you can repurpose these. You can use them over and over again. There's no shelf life to any of these posts. If you have good engagement on those posts, you have the social proof you need. So it's the last time I'll say it, it's absolutely worth signing up for Beep Together, even if you're only going to use it for this month.
There's a magic number. Is 15 and 15 within, I think, an hour or 2 hours. And what that does is it gets you to the gatekeepers, and they decide how much, how viral they're going to, how many people they're going to send that post to or allow people to see. And so you need to get those numbers up just to be seen. And also another rule for the Beep Together is they're real people with pretty good networks. And when they comment thoughtfully. They don't say great posts or anything. They actually read your post and they comment appropriately, and that drives engagement with that.
One other thing, if I can interrupt here just briefly, the people that are in the group are very like-minded people. So they're trying to build their business too. They're developing a relationship with those people that are within Beep2B because they're commenting on your post, they're liking your post, they're seeing what you do. Over time, I have found that I have gotten business out of Beep Together. I think I've gotten 4 clients so far in being in, Beep Together, 4 clients that are in the Beep Together network. So there's a lot of different reasons to join. And even if networking wise, I think, Troy, you've probably gotten quite a few clients out of Beep Together too, haven't you?
Yeah, and similar type of groups. I noticed that Beep Together, that group is more stringent as far as the rules, which is great. People are actually posting really good comments on it, where these other automated robot things don't really work well at all.
Well, there's no way you can create engagement if it's an automated bot that's creating these posts. But when real people are looking at your posts, reading your posts, commenting on your posts, you're commenting back, you're having a conversation with them, it does create a relationship. And over time, if you have something that they need, they'll reach out to you first.
Yeah, and we don't own the software, by the way. We just use it, and it's a good tool. And the affiliate link is allow us to track the individuals there. I wish I did own the software, make more money.
So you know, just to explain a little bit how this works, guys. So the LinkedIn algorithm looks at engagement early on, you know, in the first 2 hours typically. The first 2 hours of a new post are very critical for LinkedIn to choose and decide whether to show it to more and more people, okay? So just to give you an idea, the first 30 minutes is the first time period that's critical. And LinkedIn, if LinkedIn sees enough engagement from that first 30 minutes, then it's gonna grow and show it to more and more people of the right audience. So basically what we're doing, and you may have heard the concept of a pod, right? A posting pod. It's basically a collection of people, just like we are today, you know, we are a group of people who are agreeing to support each other, you know, support each other by helping our posts, commenting on our posts. And there's two things that happens when you do this. I mean, you know, Ed and Troy have been teasing me for a long time because I'm not posting on LinkedIn, okay? And the reason I'm not posting is because if I were gonna post, I could not handle the amount of business generated. But I pledged this week to create my first post, okay? But
it's about time.
What happen is I get business by commenting on other people's posts. And if you comment intelligently, if you had more value, you know, you're naturally showing your expertise, your knowledge in the field, and you're helping people. And people take notice, you know, so you can, that's what I meant by piggybacking on somebody else's post. You can also get traction by commenting on other people's posts, okay? So it's good practice to take the time to do it well. It takes effort, but it will generate great results and create a lot of visibility for you guys in the long run. Okay.
Yeah, so thinking about it like this, if you are engaging in other people's posts, more people are seeing that engagement. So it's a two-way street. So even part of my day-to-day process is to look at my home feed to kind of interact in some interesting posts. I think we have a couple of questions here. I don't want to ignore people. Sorry, Ed, to interrupt you. What does beep together mean? Well, beep, oh my goodness. I think Jean-Michel, I forget what beep stands for. It's BEEP. So do you remember what that beep means?
You know, I don't from top of my head here, but it's similar to your dating model, but it's expressed a little differently.
Yeah. So we don't know the name, but it stands for something, but it allows you to engage properly through the proper steps. Let's see here. Are the members of my pod changing from session to session? Well, Harold, are you referring to the Beep Together pod? If you're referring to that, they have a lot of members. So if you join that, there's a chance that some of us will be on that, but there'll be a lot of other people in there as well.
Yeah, they rotate every time they do it.
Yeah, so they mix it up. It's a salt shaker there.
And it's very important, you know, it's very important to know that for success of a pod, so you know, is that to refresh the people that are part of the pod, not always having the same people commenting on your post. So, you know, we can start our own pod together, this group today, right? And it's going to work for a while, but eventually it may lose traction because LinkedIn is going to notice this is always the same people, right? So Beep Together is very powerful because of that, because they randomly assign people out of the community to post on your post, and they've been able to do this for years with a lot of success. So,
yeah, they have tens of thousands of people registered. I don't know the exact number, but I never have all the same people on the same pod.
Yeah,
they have a large enough audience where the variety is pretty good on it. I'm sorry, Ed, what, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, I forgot.
All right.
You guys kept talking. I can't even remember what I was going to say.
I think we all have ADD sometimes. So,
but to answer Greg, to answer your question, so each different level of PIP together gives you access to a number of posting parties per month. Okay, so right. I think you get six posting parties on the basic level, 6 pods a month. So basically, you know, you can post every 5 days, basically, which is good for the majority of people. You know, there is such a thing as posting too often on LinkedIn, because if you post too often, you don't give the LinkedIn algorithm time enough to create virality for you, right? So it's not necessarily good. Now, influencers like Troy can get away with murder. Okay, Troy can post twice a day. He's gonna be fine because he's an influencer. But when most of us are not there, so you know, we have to play by more stringent rules. So
yeah, let's talk about the hashtags. Ed, did you say the hashtag we create is not
indexed? It wasn't indexed yet.
Okay, we can use my hashtag because it exists. The Troy,
hold
the
on,
Troy
let me
hip.
check. I'll check and see. Maybe it's indexed now, but it wasn't this morning.
Okay. Well, my suggestion is use both of them. We'll just use both those hashtags, the Troy hip, and then the other one, and then either way it will work. Just to cover our bases there, you know.
Right.
I want to go ahead and go through a couple of things, and then I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. One thing I want to talk about is your, let's see here. I have a link in the document that has a bunch of images. Some of them are specific to me, but I think I have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images in case you can't find your own meme or you want to grab some content. I just have to ask you not to delete it, just download it, because if you delete it, sometimes Google changes stuff where it gives you different permissions and stuff. But I have a whole library of images I've created in the past. Feel free to use any of those stuff, right? And I want to talk about tools. You know, if you want to create a video, you see I got this iPhone here. It's not even a brand new one. It's like iPhone 10. It's 3 versions behind. And the quality of these videos are superb. It all depends on a little, you know, just have a little lighting, a little tripod. I have a little thing right here for light. I was charging it up. I ran out of, so I just put it on top, and it has actually good lighting. Natural lighting is good as well. But all your phones, whether, I don't know anything about Android, but I'm sure they have it. They all have built-in editors in there. And if you want to create videos on it, it's very, very good. Also, there's a ton of apps that you can make changes to your own videos. And these apps are desktop related as well as, you know, mobile app related. And so it really depends on what kind of flow you do. I always think about planning out what I want to convey. How did I help someone? You know, do I have a larger story that I want to chop up in smaller bits? Some could be a video, some could be a PDF. You know, I'm just trying to get those ideas across in a way that can be absorbed by the average consumer. Another thing is Canva. Canva is excellent. I'm a Photoshop guy, and I was a top designer, you know, for websites a number of years ago in Atlanta. And you don't really, I use it once in a while for some very particular things, but Canva saves a lot of time. They have templates, PDF templates. They have all these, we do cover images with it. It saves a ton of time. So I did a PDF for my LinkedIn Accelerator program, and it must have been like 9 pages or something, and I put it right in there. It's real handsome. I didn't design it. I don't have time. And so if I had a client, it would have took me 40 hours to design that. I built that whole thing in 3 hours, you know, and you can create short PDFs, 3 or 4 slides long. they get pretty good engagement on LinkedIn as well, because what happens is when people click more, they have two things that happen: linger time, and then they have click time. Oh, well, the number of clicks in certain situations. And so those, they call them documents, but PDFs do really well on LinkedIn. So I would take a look at Canva, and I think it's free. They have a free version to sign up for that, and you want to start creating content. Now, images, I just mentioned, I have a ton of images to start from, but if you sign up for Beep Together, they'll give you a lot of those images as well, and they'll also give you a content calendar. So they give you a whole media kit once you sign up, and it's a calendar giving you ideas of what to post. So they give you images as well. Let's see. As far as writing your content, I just use a Google document or a Word document. And I also have a spreadsheet that I put together if I'm scheduling stuff out. I don't know where the link is on that, but I have a spreadsheet where I'm listing what's the image or what's the media, what am I saying, when am I posting, and I just do it in that way. A lot of people have systems where they post ahead and all that. Those things really don't work well on LinkedIn at all. And the reason being is that you can only post an image or a video, and the video is end up being a link to a video. It's not the native video. And so LinkedIn likes things that are native. And all those options that we showed you before, what page was that? Here you go. Those can only be done manually. There's not a piece of software that does that as of yet. And so if you want to create a poll, if you want to upload a document, if you want to celebrate an occasion, you really only can do that by doing it manually. So there's a lot to that. Let me see. Yeah, and that they give a content creator, and I also have a link too. So I think this was posted by Jean-Michel. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had a little bit more, ideas on what to post, so just for you guys to inspire you a little bit.
Yeah, so we can go through some of these. They have that content calendar, just gives you a ton of ideas. I usually say, what did you do to fix a problem today? On your normal day-to-day business, you're constantly fixing stuff and doing stuff. So those are really good ideas, because you're having some kind of accomplishment, not just on your end, but on your client's end, or you have a win. So it's all about wins. Like, this is give a shout out to someone who's inspired your career. And this is like kind of giving back. And people love to see other people giving back, because that level of being humble is very powerful. It's like, you know what? He's going and extending beyond his normal, what he needs to do. Behind the scenes look, this is what I talked about. How did you fix something? How did you technically do something? What happens to make something happen? A day in the life, what's happening in a day that may be interesting, how did Troy create this post? How did he create this PDF? How did he get that time down where it made sense? How did Ed fix this problem that someone was having with email deliverability? How did he help them rewrite the email where more people open it? How did he create this needle in the haystack method where you're identifying that particular client versus the general crowd? Pick of things on your desk. I have no idea what that means, Jean-Michel. I think you just made it up. Habits that shape your day.
One quick update on the hashtag. It has now been indexed. So I sent a link in the chat for everyone to follow that hashtag. What is it, essential for business?
Yeah, let's do this, Ed. I don't know how well they indexed it. Why don't you add my hashtag to it? It's just Troy Hip, TROYHIP, because it exists. And we'll use both of those. Use mine as a backup. Let's see, habits that shape your day. Yeah, always optimizing. I did a lot of posts just on using Google Docs. Hey, you can create a template, and saves a lot of time. What I do after I meet a client, I had a post about I have a follow-up, but my follow-up is not an email. I create a 4-page document or a 3-page document that shows what we talked about. It has a couple of bullet points in there. This is what we talked about, and this is my suggestions. And I put a little image of the video, and they can watch the video or read the suggestions. So you have video people, and then you have people that read. I think it's about an 80-20 split. Most people will watch a video, well, maybe 70-30. Most people will watch a video versus reading, but other people that just read only, they concentrate on that, and they're kind of built that way. So you want to cover both bases on that. Tools that make your life easier. Like I discovered this new tool where I'm talking about Canva, for example. I've saved myself a ton of time, and I know that not everything needs to be perfect. And that's one thing that people forget. Everything has to be perfect. No, it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay not to be super perfect on every little thing, because most people won't even see that. They won't see the fact that, oh, he could have put a little more, unless you are really awful at it. All my work, my work comes out really well. And even that PDF, I said, I would have designed it a little differently, but I don't want to spend 30 hours doing it, And so what meets the need to what you need to do. And a lot of people like putting personal hobbies and a lot of these tie into business and family, which is good too. And fear and things that people have to deal with during the pandemic. People have to deal with a lot of stuff, and a lot of it's organization, being motivated, having the right tools to get what you want done, and having the feeling of being empowered in this environment is really fun, really important. Of course, you can talk about your business. These are the things you have to be careful about, and this is what Ed has brought up. You do want to talk about pain points in the individual business, but you don't want to talk about your business as an advertising tool. This is not a banner for your advertising. This is a place to kind of serve people, offer value, and that sort of thing. And we go on and on through these things here, and you're welcome to take a look at it. But I think when, inspiration is a big one as well. And if you're inspired, the act of you being inspired actually inspires other individuals. There's a dash change here. And then what are the things that are game changer? For example, there's certain game changer things in my business that I don't really talk about publicly. Like I have, the one thing I do talk about publicly is my day-to-day process. How can you convert a connection into a conversation? There's ways to do that make sense, depending on how you approach it and then how you personalize it. So there's a lot of great ideas here. Oh, you put some thought into this, Jean-Michel. Why do you do what you do? All right. Sell your services. Also be very, very careful on this. A lot of times when someone has an ebook or something like that, they usually ask permission before we send it. But if you have a gorgeous PDF and it's a 3 or 4 slide thing, you may be able to get away with posting that on an actual post on LinkedIn, as long as there's value in that for your particular audience, if not just a sales thing. So you have to kind of design that ebook appropriately. And if you have a brochure just on your business, those are usually permission asked. Webinars, upcoming events. Yep. I think Ed shows you when he was advertising his upcoming event, they didn't convert really well. So you have to have a story around it. What I tend to do is I talk about something and I try to solve a problem about posting or whatever it is. And then I say, hey, if you want to check this out, and I add it as a sub note. Even then, though, my views are reduced. So I'll be honest with you. My last several posts didn't go well because LinkedIn says, oh, he's advertised. Even though it's free, this whole thing is free. I got dinged a little bit on that. All right, so we talked about these great tools and everything. The other thing we want to talk about is call to action. And Ed, I want you to talk about this because we had that original discussion before when we first met a few years ago, and you're able to convert on your post based on a discussion. I know it's a long time ago, Ed. Do you want to talk about it? That's it. I'm putting you on the spot there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think that the big thing that you have to really do is sell without selling, having a call to action in there that doesn't feel like it's a sales pitch. One of the ways you can do it to qualify people, it's kind of a two-step process. Instead of, I don't try to sell on LinkedIn at all, because I'll give you an example. Let's imagine it's next year, COVID is over, and we can resume our normal activities. We can have get-togethers with our family and friends during Thanksgiving and during Christmas. So imagine you're with your family, friends, extended family during Christmas for a holiday meal. Your wife has cooked the meal for everyone. And one of the guests, let's say I'm one of your guests. You made the mistake of inviting me as a guest, but that's okay. I'll try to be a good guest. And I stop when we're near the end, and I applaud, and I say, let's say her name is Helen. Helen, this is one of the best meals that I've ever had. It's just tremendous. Don't you all think this is just a tremendous meal? We should be thanking Helen. And I reach into my pocket, I grab my wallet, and I say, Helen, as I pull out about $300, Helen, I want to pay you $300 for this meal. And then people are probably a little nervous. Like, what's this guy doing? And I pull out, maybe it's 300 not enough, maybe 400. Now, what I've done is I've injected sales into a social situation. It's very awkward. I was describing this to my wife, and I could see how uncomfortable she was as I was describing it. And social networks are designed not for selling, but for you to have interactions with people that you know. So if you start selling, not only do you turn off the people that are commenting or following your posts, and you get crickets. People don't want to see any form of selling. It just doesn't get any traction at all. LinkedIn will also see it, and they will not share your post with anyone. So what you have to understand is that you want to get people to respond to your posts, like continuing the conversation. And when they're doing that, they're raising their hands saying, well, I'm interested in this topic, or I have this problem. And it becomes more of a collective of solving the problem that you bring up in your post. Then you go back to those people because you have access to you know what their profile is. If you're doing a poll, even if they just answer your poll, you get all that data. And now you can go back to them on an individual basis. It's a two-step process, but it'll get you more reach. You'll have a lot more people that you can talk to. And then you can have that conversation around that post that you just had. You can go back and maybe look at some of their posts and see if there's anything similar, comment on their post. And immediately, before you know it, you have a meeting with that person. So don't use LinkedIn as a sales platform. It's a social network. Make sure that you're not making that sales faux pas.
And it's
a long answer to your question.
Obviously, it's in line with what we've discussed at length in the short show, guys. For you, it's all about being of service and providing value. And probably there's a lot of coaches on the call with us today, particularly since the pandemic. A lot of people need our help. We have to show up. We have to show up and help and be of service. So when you come with a place of service, not from selling, the energy, the dynamic, the relationship develops in a very, very different way.
Will we be asking if people have questions?
I'm multitasking, sorry about that. Yeah. There's some questions we have here and some comments. Someone said the pages are not on the outline. So I just sent the document again, and it's just a Google document. You can download that, view it, download it as a PDF, however you want it. So we can go ahead and share that. Jennifer's posted something. We use programs like Slideshare, part of LinkedIn, to share PDFs and presentations and stuff, upload them directly. As it can help with reach. Yeah, Slideshare works well as well. Works good as well. I just do PDFs because it's a simple process for me. Because if I create a PDF on Canva, then I can just move it as a file. But Slideshare offers a couple of things. One thing I don't like about Slideshare, I remember it timing out at certain things, so maybe hopefully they fix that. Gregory, I showed a card I created on Canva. She likes hummingbirds. This used pictures in them, in their environment. The Canva background allows one to isolate an image and focus. Oh yeah, there's a lot of cool features. Like if there's a photo of you and you want to knock it out, you push the button and it just removes everything. So there's a lot of features in there that can have enhancements on photos if you had it. And there's a lot of objects in there, and there's things that you can upload yourself on there as well. So it's pretty flexible. SendFox says it has too many requests. I don't know.
Maybe that
I don't know what that
link
means.
is getting hit too many times.
Your what?
Maybe the link is getting hit too many times. When I sent that agenda out last night, I don't know whether you or Jean-Michel added anything to it. So there may be other things that are added to it maybe this morning. I made sure I sent it out as late as I could get away with, but there may have been some updates since.
Sorry, I was still making changes this morning, and to the Google Doc. I didn't realize you'd send a different link, so that's my fault. I'll
resend the updated version via email to everybody.
Yeah, we'll just send I would send the Google link, because the Google link will always be open to people, and Google they won't sign up on page B not working. I don't know what sign up page on B. Oh, on the B2B. The sign up page? Let's see.
That was working this morning.
Matthew's made a couple of comments on that, but
really? Let's find out.
He's having trouble signing up. Or I don't know, Matt, if you are maybe if you're trying to do this from the North Pole or the South Pole, then maybe there's something there.
I don't know. I'm gonna click it right now, see if it works.
I don't know if it's an issue with your location. Maybe.
Well, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna find out, and I'll just put the link here again, and I'm gonna open another tab, and I'm gonna hit.
It had a common problem. The problem you see a lot of databases when it's dropping like two of the fields, it says you didn't accept the terms of service. So then when you accept the terms of service, it drops your password. So you find yourself with this continual loop. Oh, here's my password. Oh, now I didn't accept the terms of service. I did about 5 times.
Oh, geez.
That's terrible. So if you give stuff out, you might have try to make sure it works. I mean, that was my experience, and I'm in New York, so I don't think there's any issue.
I'll reach out to their tech support and find out what's going on.
I clicked on the link, but I don't have any cache issues, so I didn't have a problem.
Thanks for the heads up, Matthew.
Yeah. Has there been anybody else in the group here who was able to log in and create an account successfully?
Let me get on there with them now and let them know.
Okay, just wanted to see if it was an isolated incident or if it was.
It just worked fine for me.
It worked fine for you, Carl. Yep. Okay, thanks for letting us know. Okay, so
maybe clear the cache. Is that a possible solution? Clearing the cache?
Maybe it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't build the software, but
my WhatsApp is.
Try another browser.
Oh, another browser,
yeah.
Just as a side note for everyone, as I'm trying to get into WhatsApp so I can message these guys, I'm going to send a connection request to everyone. Hopefully you'll accept it. What the heck? I'm trying to get back to our, it's like, oh, there we are. There is everyone. So hopefully you'll accept it. My wife will work with me in commenting on everyone's posts. So she's really, really fast at commenting. We both take our time to write comments that are meaningful. Just to let you know how good my wife is at it, when she comments on posts, and I sometimes ask her if she wouldn't mind doing that, 50 to 60% of the time, and these are targets, these are people I want to do business with. She just comments on their posts 50 to 60% of the time. They send me a connection request. I don't have to even go through the trouble of doing it. Now I've put a little pressure on her now. You're going to expect all these great comments from her, but we can get through the B2B process of commenting on 15 different posts. In fact, I just let her do everything except for the videos. and she gets done in about 20 minutes. She's a cyborg. She can a minute and she's written a post. She reads the post. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that you do not put long posts in there or long videos, because we only have 2 hours to get through everything and our groups post. So if you have a long post, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to think, I'll just post something, a simple comment that's meaningful, like they'll say, good post. That's worthless. Never do that. That's the worst thing you can do. But if you, one other thing, if you do accept my connection request, and I'll be very polite and nice, I will immediately endorse your top 3 skills. I'm assuming you wouldn't have them as your top 3 skills if those weren't actual skills that you have. That's one of the things I like to do when I connect with someone.
Now I'll go ahead and share the screen. There's a couple little other things, and before we get into Q&A, let me share the screen here. I have this little screen here. Okay. Another thing too, when you want to get permission-based boosting activities. So we talked about a couple of things. Number one is the beep together, the posting pod. Super important to get started because it has some math that's necessary to do that. But the other things that you can do is the hashtag. We'll have 2 hashtags on it, and we'll add it to the document. And then once we submit our posts, we can actually look for that hashtag and post on those some of those posts. And we're not going to say who to post on, but how many to do it. It takes a while to do this work. So 15 comments and 15 likes. We're not everyone's super fast readers and thinkers and like that. When most people like to absorb the content, and so you do want to think about this. Well, if it takes 2 to 3 minutes per post, it will be 30 minutes to an hour of work for those 15 comments on it for normal humans, And so there's a lot of work that you can do, but you have to kind of gauge it on what's the most important. Well, that beep together posting party is probably one of the most important things to do. The second thing is the hashtag, because if we all end up doing that, we'll have 30 or 40 or 50 people, and then you can kind of pick what posts you want to talk to. Maybe I want to comment on 10 of them. Maybe I want to comment on 50 of them. Just figure out what's right for you, because that's an extra thing. And again, if you can't get the posting party, you will have to just use the hashtags. Will not be as effective, but it will get you a lot of traction. Another thing too is that you can send out messages prior and get permission. Remember, we talked about permission-based activities. Beep Together is one of those, but you may have some cheerleaders, people that really like you, like your content in general. You might want to send them a note on LinkedIn, do a LinkedIn DM, and just say, hey, I'm going to be posting these things pretty soon. Would it be okay if I sent you a note and you commented and liked it, and you're really asking them ahead of time. And even when you do that, sometimes people don't do it, but one thing you want to avoid is just pissing people off, right? So you don't want to send them a ton of messages and all the time, Another thing too is you can put an @ symbol in front of that person's name in the post or in a comment, and it'll send them a little note as well. So if you already have the permission, it's okay to comment them as well as maybe DM them to kind of hit on both those sides. So we all have people that will potentially support us and support our endeavors. You just have to think about that. Who in my LinkedIn audience would do that? And there's a couple of other tricks too. If people have endorsed your skills, Ed was just talking about that, endorsing skills. If they endorsed you, there's a probability that they would like your post. You don't want to do this all the time, but I got a lot of people that endorsed my skills. If I really wanted to boost something, I can go straight down that list. Now, that's kind of a one-time thing, or one time every 3-4 months. That's if you really want to get some engagement, and you could have a simple note that, hey, I noticed you endorsed my skills on this. I really appreciate that. I actually have a post coming out, or I had a post that came out, and you can give the link. So you have to figure out what is appropriate on how much and when, you know? So we talked about direct messages. Let's see. And there's some preferences on LinkedIn. They want you to interact with people that you know. And there's these groups as well. Now, there's a couple of things that we're not going to get involved with, but we're going to tell you they're there. There are LinkedIn groups that are specific to what you're talking about. I connect to LinkedIn, Facebook groups that talk about LinkedIn, you know, and I connect with LinkedIn groups that talk about social media and communications, you know, but that's me. I'm a LinkedIn guy. So whatever you're doing, you may want to join some of these groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. And there's several things that you can end up doing. You know, you can communicate with those people. You can post on the channel. Of course, be mindful of that group's rules. You know, sometimes people don't like posting. And if it is a group where you are allowed to post information, give back. So you got a lot of these greedy people, and a lot of them are the typical individuals that will spam you. So they'll go on these channels and they'll try to post their stuff, but they won't engage in anyone's information. So we call those spammers, and you don't want to be that individual. If you're going to post in a group or something like that, give back. You know, you have to spend the time of giving back, because people will see that and they'll drop off pretty quickly because that you're not being authentic. You know, you're not really supporting the group. They have private groups. Some are free and some are paid. Some are Facebook groups. Some are Slack channels even, you know. So know that they're out there. Just be aware of that. We're not endorsing any particular ones. We have a couple of groups, but they're specific to LinkedIn. We have the Dallas linking group. They have 10,000 members in it. So you might be able to get, you know, if you're a LinkedIn person, it may be appropriate to post some content in there. I'm giving you an example. And I have a smaller group that has 500 people that I post to every once in a while, and a couple of Facebook groups. So hopefully that kind of makes sense there. What I want to do, and Ed and Jean-Michel, what I want to do is I want to open the floor up for questions. I'm not seeing the chat, but I want to see if we can actually help people figure out what to post. Now the two things that we are gonna do is the posting party and the hashtags, and we're gonna post on Wednesday. And it's Wednesday. I think it's our meeting starts at like 10:30, but the posting party starts at 11. So we'll have some engagement and talking about beforehand. And if you end up, you know, showing up a little 10 minutes late, it's not going to be a big deal. Show up 10:40 instead of 10:30. That's fine. But what I want to do right now is help people answer their questions, get some ideas formulated, and try to create your own post. And even if you don't have the content or you don't have all the imagery and stuff like that, get the idea down. If you have a larger idea, I can break it down to smaller ideas. If you say, Troy, I'm thinking about posting something along these lines, how would you do it? Let's go along those lines. Does that make sense?
One quick question Kathy had asked. I think she's got a couple of questions here.
Okay.
The times that Beep together have set for posting, and you'd have to post within their given times. Then, so on Mondays, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock. And yeah,
I would say everyone has a different time zone. You're talking about Eastern.
Eastern, it's Eastern. 6 o'clock Eastern.
If you're on West Coast,
time,
you're 3 hours behind.
And 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, AM. On Wednesdays, it's 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 2 o'clock Eastern. And on Fridays, it's 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock. I believe they used to have one at 6 o'clock Eastern Time PM on Mondays because they wanted to get the Australian market, but that didn't work out. I was on there a couple of times. It was just me and one other person. So just stick to those time frames. One of the other things that you can do if you really want to get your post boosted is I will go on Wednesday specifically, and I will post at 6 o'clock, and I'll just take that exact same post, put it back in the Beep together, and boost it again at 11, and boost it again at 2, and that's when I get the most traction. It doesn't make sense to do it throughout the week, but if you can boost it during that day, during the entire day, you will get really good engagement. Lastly, I think I mentioned the Facebook groups. I don't know if I mentioned it. I know you talked about it, Troy. I'm not a big fan of a lot of those groups. You can do a search on Facebook. I've joined the groups. I found that they're very clicky. So you're going to have to do a lot of commenting and not getting anything in return until they decide, okay, this person's real. We'll comment on his stuff. The minute you slow down, if you take a week off, you're back to square one, where nobody's commenting on engaging on any of your posts. And then you have to build up, I guess, the trust within the group that you're going to post. And then sometimes many of them just leave nonsense comments like good posts. That's worthless. That doesn't help us.
You know, Rob has an excellent question. What percentage of pod is from foreign countries? Well, they're in, I think they're in the UK where the company comes from. Is it UK? But they're usually English speaking countries. So I think it's a high 90s that are in English speaking first countries.
Beep to be or just any pod?
No, I think he's referring to the Beep to be. But you know why? Because they pay to be part of the pod. That's the one reason, one major reason why. So if you're going to put a little bit of money in it, you're going to be a little more serious.
Yeah, it keeps out the riffraff.
Yeah. So it's US and UK mostly. They have people in Australia too, Canada, that sort of thing.
Probably 90% US.
Yeah, it's a high 90s. Yeah. See, how would you approach the owner of a group for promoting my post or article and pay the group owner for helping me distribute? That's a Pandora's box. Matthew, I'm not going to answer that. I don't know. If you want to talk to like influencers and stuff like that, it's all networking. So these groups, everyone has a set of rules, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a paid pod, if it's a Slack channel, they may say, well, tag it this way, or we don't allow this. We don't allow help with LinkedIn, and some of them can be quite, testy on those things. What I would highly suggest is the Beep Together stuff is solid. It's real simple. You post, you interact, it's done, The others, the hashtags is another item. And then the groups, you may want to select a few groups and see what's going to work for you. But time is money. So how much time are you going to really put into this based on what do you have to do for the rest of your day? So you really got to find a path to your success. That's why we're not really promoting one group or another, other than the pod stuff, because we know we're going to actually use it during this 5-day challenge and the posts and the hashtags. What are the requirements to engage on posts? Example, if my post at 6 a.m. ET, that's 4 a.m. Mountain Time, I have the desire to engage that early. I have to desire to engage that early. Well, the ones that get the most engagement is the 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 8 a.m. West Coast. US time, of course. When you go to a pod time for the Beep Together thing, if you go to it, some of the odd times may not have as many people in. So you tend to do that if you really want to, just to start off, if you want to stack the post. That's one thing Ed has done before, but the downside of that, it requires time. Now, what I mean by stacking the post is create the post right before your first post party. And if they have 2 or 3 post parties that day, you can go on all 3 of them and point to the same one and then stack that engagement. But that's kind of a lot of work, and it really depends on if you think you can convert on that. So I don't have that kind of time, but if you're dedicating that kind of time for that, I would probably try to, target the 11 a.m. because during this activity for these 5 days, when we're doing the post party for Wednesday and Friday, we're doing 2 posts. We're doing one for Wednesday and one for Friday. We're targeting that 11 o'clock time, Eastern, of course. Oh, you have no desire for 4 a.m. Yeah, that makes more sense.
I would Rob Ivercat. So just to mention, I know you're probably in a foreign country. So I'll give you an example, like, one of our sponsors, Pat Swami, he likes to tag us at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, our time, and that doesn't work, right? So he's not getting, so if you're posting in the middle of the night, you're not going to get a lot of engagement. So in your case, if you are in a foreign country, you may want to get together with some colleagues.
Well, you also want to know where your clients are. If you're driving clients in your own country, you know, and you join an early posting party, whatever, then so be it, you know. But you have to figure out who's going to look at your stuff and when's the optimal time to get where you need to go.
And keep in mind that once you're doing these posts, you're driving engagement and authority, and you can repurpose those posts. You can send those posts to people that are prospects and ask their opinion. Again, I don't ever sell, so I'll ask them, I'll have a generic post and I'll send it to a target and I ask them their opinion. And does this translate to your industry? And if so, how? And then because they're seeing so much engagement on the post, they usually give me an answer, and I'm right into a situation where I can get on a call on a meeting, or we're talking about solving the problem that the post discuss for them or other people in their industry. There's just a wide range of things that I do with a post, and the reason why I do the stacking is to get as much engagement on that post as I possibly can, so I can repurpose it.
Rob sent me a direct message, but I'm just going to say it. Thanks for sending it to me directly, but I'll go ahead and make it a little public here. Can we talk about results get from this? I wouldn't, because your post should be about solving something or doing something. LinkedIn generally, even though this is not against the rules, LinkedIn doesn't like any kind of help, you know. So if we're getting together and helping each other out and stuff, like, they tend, because you have a lot of riffraff that will follow a similar method, but they're gonna be takers, not givers. So I don't ever talk, like, for example, I don't talk about my LinkedIn CRM. I have a CRM called Link CRM, right? It helps tremendously converting on LinkedIn. I don't publicize that. It's a tool that I use. It's an intermediate CRM if you're doing business on it. And I tie that with my day-to-day process. I do talk about my day-to-day process because it's a very human interactive work. But when you're talking about any kind of components or automation, which this is not automation, it's human interaction, you tend to not want to publicize that on a post.
Another question.
Yeah, there's another one. Can we send it for feedback?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Kim. So we'll have more time to give you great feedback. So, you know, just to be clear, no, we've covered a lot of different things today, but basically, just to tighten things up, because we're getting at the top of the second hour here. So action items for you guys today, for us to have a successful post party together. It's not one, register for Beat Together. And if you have any trouble, you know, Matt, if you still have trouble, just reach out to one of us and hopefully we can fix your problem.
Yeah, reach out to me because I'm working directly with those guys. I just sent Mike, the owner, a message just to let him know what's going on.
It looks like when I went to Edge, it worked. So using
a different cache issue then.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
I just do everything in Chrome. So yeah.
So the second, so after you've done that, make sure we all connect together. You know, if you're comfortable with that, that will help propel your post as well. Particularly if we engage. So remember, LinkedIn is going to create more engagement, particularly with and show your post to people you've engaged on LinkedIn, right? And the more people you engage on LinkedIn every day, you know, through comments, through direct messages, one-on-one. You know, it basically expands your reach and your visibility on LinkedIn. Think of it that way. So the second action item for you guys now to think about a post that you want to help get virality for, you know, on Wednesday, and you need to think about your call to action. Okay, so what do I want? What do I want to get out of this post? Do I want people to read a long LinkedIn article? Do I want them to learn more about a blog that I wrote on my website? Do I want them to just come and look at my LinkedIn profile? Do I want to advertise a special event coming up? Do I want to offer something for free? So, you know, we gave you a lot of different ideas in the document. So check it out, try to figure out what's hot right now, right? What is your industry talking about? What are the pain points, right? And
be careful about where you're sending people, because if you're sending them outside of LinkedIn, you're going to suppress your reach. You really want to get somebody to react to your post, and then you can follow up with them outside of the post. Once you do anything in the post that looks like you're trying to promote something, you're going to get your post suppressed as far as reach is concerned.
Yeah, try to provide value, and value doesn't mean what's valuable to you. It means what's valuable to your audience. So there's two different things. Kathy has a question, and I read it wrong. It says question on creating a coming out post. I misunderstood that at first, but you're launching a new brand. Okay, got it. Use the celebration option. Yeah, when she says she's coming out, I'm like, cool, but I don't know if LinkedIn cares if you're coming out, but she's talking about her new brand. She says, is a video or written post better? Well, you want a written post, but you want the option for celebration for that particular thing. And then it'll just be a post. It'll be a picture of you like thumbs up or something happy. It's got to be, LinkedIn is about personalization, and it's also about being personable. And so they want us, I would suggest doing that. Happy face, smile, thumbs up, hand out, you know, launching my new brand. And using that as a celebration. You'll get more engagement with that, because in the celebration, you bring the photo in and it has a little, it kind of curves up, makes your post a little bit different, and it asks if you want to tag people on that. So try that. Does anyone have questions? This is what I want. I want people to say, hey, Troy, I'm thinking about doing a post, doing A, B, and C. So we're trying to answer some of the questions, because tomorrow we'll continue this Q&A to help you formulate some of these posts. There's a couple of other things too. When you're adding the content portion of your post, feel free to use the emojis. You know, adds a little bit of flavor in there. And your call to action, your title is something very important. That first line. So put something that's going to be a little catchy on it. You know, 5 ways to do this. My coming out post. I think that's awesome, actually. Use that. This my coming out post, then it's launching my brand. I think that will actually get some attention. It's a little funny to me, but I think a little humor is good. So that very first line is something that really engages people. Drive that in there, and then have that CTA in there, that call to action in there. Yeah, in terms of character length, you have a maximum character length of 3,000 characters.
3,000.
Way too long, unless you're doing text only. You know, if that's your thing, then that's cool. But if you have a video, for example, you probably want to do a little less on the text, 250, 350 characters, maybe maximum of 1,500. But it really depends. My posts are actually a little longer because I put thought into a lot of my posts, but that's just me. Shorter is generally better. It really depends on your what you're doing. If you're sending a PDF, for example, as a document, you just want to put the main points in the text portion of it to drive the interest to look at the PDF. PDFs do pretty well too. Polls do well too. Actually, Kathy, sending people outside of LinkedIn will need to be the first comment below. Yeah, so if you want to drive a link that's going outside of LinkedIn, you tend to want to wait a minute after the post happens, at least 1 minute, and then you can post the link in the comment below. Sometimes I don't care, I'll just put the link in there, but most of my links are linking back to LinkedIn. So that's 2 different things we're talking about. If you have a link that's going back to LinkedIn, it's okay to do it within the post. If you're doing it outside, you tend not to. In certain instances, you can't. Say you have a YouTube video and you want to show the YouTube video, you have to put the link in the post, but your interaction will go down. It's not going to convert as well. You get kind of dinged for that.
I looked at my posting history with posting a link to another, like an article or a LinkedIn event, and I've seen a drop of my reach over time, especially recently. If I have a link even to LinkedIn, even if it's an internal link to LinkedIn, I've seen my reach drop significantly over the past few months. So I might not even put a link in the first
comments.
comment. I wouldn't even. I do it like afterwards. You can, if someone comments on your post and you're replying to their comment, that's a good place to put it there. But in the first comment, I wouldn't do it anymore.
Well, if you have an event, one method to do is say, hey, if you're interested, just comment interested below, you know, and then you get those people that are really interested in that, and then you give them the link, you know, and I'll add the comment after a couple of days, like the link on a main comment, because after a couple of days, it doesn't really matter. But I like to drive that conversation. Yeah, I'm interested in doing this because I, you know, and then that person's asking specifically. Then you can reply in the comment and also direct message them, you know, because sometimes they won't see the reply in the comment, but they're more likely to see a direct message, so you can do both of those. Is it better to use professional stock pic or pics from your phone?
I'd say
I like pics from the phone, yeah, because they're more impromptu, they're more natural. Professional pics are good too in certain arenas, but you don't have but so many of those. So I like, if it's a celebration or something I want to put, I'll do it. And your phones do pretty well. You know, you look like a real person. If you get your glamour shots on there, it depends. It depends, you know. I tend to do more real stuff. One more thing to consider when messaging people on LinkedIn, try sending audio messages as a different format. That's a very good point. So Jennifer Glass, which is a business dev individual that drives businesses for companies, she said that try different options on your phone. Now, she's referring to your phone, your app on your phone, your LinkedIn app. There's a couple of options in there. There's two options I use. One of my day-to-day process is video. So if someone connects with me, I do a welcome video 20 to 30 seconds long. I say, thank you for connecting. I see you do A, B, and C. You know, it's great. Great to be connected. If you have a chance, feel free to just take a look at my profile. If you see any dots to connect, go ahead and send me your booking link. I'll schedule some time. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Right? That's my welcome video, 20 seconds. I'm not talking about business. I'm talking about them. It's appropriate for them to look at my profile because they just connected, you know, the appropriate level. The other thing that she's talking about is an audio message. And it's very good as well because it's different. When people see your face or hear their voice, they said, oh, this is something they personally are engaging with. You can't get a VA to do that because a VA doesn't look like you. A VA doesn't sound like you. And so you're personalizing that engagement. So that's a very good method as well. And you can only do that on the phone. And the cool thing about the video portion and the voice message, it's embedded. So it's not a link that goes outside. It's a video inside their message thing. And it's a voicemail, and they can click on that. Some people have hard time hearing that, but they probably have like 1 out of 30 people can't listen to it, but they usually got jacked up systems or something in an old machine. Is there any way to capture people's names via a survey with LinkedIn? Yes. If you do a poll, you said survey, but I think you mean poll. If you do a poll and they engage with that poll, you'll know who's engaging. You just click on the stats on that and you'll be able to pull that information up. Let's see, not sure, Jennifer.
I would say, I'd like to say something else since we're talking about sending people somewhere else, you know. And so I remember Troy is an influencer, so he can do a lot more things than we should be doing, right? So he can drop links everywhere. That's good for him, but you shouldn't do this. So one strategy, if you want a lot more flexibility, you know, you want to create a Google form survey, for example, and you will send people there. So consider writing a LinkedIn Pulse article first. Okay, so it's a long form article. It's a more developed article than a post, if you like. And then in this article, it's on LinkedIn. You can drop any link that points outside of LinkedIn. There's no issue there. Then you create a post that sends traffic to your LinkedIn article. That's very safe, and LinkedIn loves it because LinkedIn wants to keep people on LinkedIn, reading on LinkedIn, being exposed to the ads, okay? So if you guys are if you guys are into funnels and you like to send traffic to a funnel, to a landing page, you can still make it work this way through a LinkedIn article first. Okay.
Yeah, I got
Why
two
you
more
do
things
that?
to add to that. The other thing is you can do it in reverse. One thing I did with John Michel is I did an interview about profile posting, and I chopped that into 6 or 7 videos, and then I incorporated that into an article. And then I did it in reverse, where I had the movement on the post already, and then had an article where it's more evergreen and centralized. And the third thing is that if you're doing a poll, you can do 2 polls, and then you can narrow down the audience and the questions to get to exactly where you want to go, or finding those people that want to convert. So that's kind of they're both kind of funnels in a way, where you're taking a general populace, figuring out who's interested, and then figuring out who the buyers or the people you convert with. We do that same thing on email, needle in the haystack method. I kind of coined that phrase, where we have an email goes out, and say we have 1,000 people that receive the email. Say we have 400 people or 500 people, half of them open it, and then we send, and during that time they're consuming the content. 20 minutes later, we send another email, and those people who respond to that last one are the buyers. So we're getting from 1,000 just to the 50 people that are interested. That way you're not doing a shotgun approach. You're narrowing down, finding ways to figure out who is really engaging with your stuff and their potential partners or buyers or whatever. I'm sorry, Ed, I interrupted you. What did you want to say? You forgot again.
Forgot again.
Man, you know what I do, Ed? Take a junk load of vitamins, man. So that's what you need to do. All right, if Beep Together is mostly Americans, it's not as blended between Americans and UK, and there's some Canadians on there, but why would it be useful? Number one, engagement. There's as soon as you get outreach, there's more people that see your content, that engage. And I'm sure that if you're in Canada, there's a high probability you want to take American dollars. I don't know, just throwing it out there. Yeah, no like and trust factor. Yes. Have to leave. Cool. No problem. Get well. Troy, back to the video. Can you explain how you do that? I only see the microphone option. If you are connected to someone, there is a send video option on your phone. So you go to your phone, and we're talking about the LinkedIn app here on your mobile phone. You go to if you're going to the place where you can reply to your DMs, or you can go to the place where your network is. So when I do welcome videos, I go straight to my network because I want to go down the list of who connected with me, because sometimes I don't get messages. But if you're replying to the message, if you are first level connection, you click the little paperclip on an iPhone, and I don't think it's a different icon, but it's to the left of the little text part of the message. And it'll open up and it'll say, send a video. Found it. Okay, good. I'm talking for nothing. All right, awesome. Does anyone have any questions on what to post? And if they need some ideas in doing that? Because tomorrow we're going to take a look at your post.
Now, Troy,
Yes.
I know some people have suggested to send their template early. Should we create maybe a Slack channel or something so we can all communicate together quickly and have access to each other's posts? What do you guys think about that?
I think tomorrow we're meeting.
Well, we're meeting tomorrow, so that's
and the group is small enough. We can get through it.
Okay, so we can do it that way.
Keep it simple. Awesome.
And I know someone mentioned earlier, was it Kim maybe, or I'm trying to remember, who wanted to share early on their post. And if you'd like to do this, that's okay. Just feel free to connect with one of us. And
you know, one thing we can do if you really want, we have a group channel on the Troy Show. So if you register on the Troy Show, we have a message thing that has a bunch of people on it. Feel free if you really want to send us a message to go on that. Ed, can you just give them the link to the Troy Show? But as soon as you register on that, and I think most people are already registered, on the left there's a group chat option, and you can, you know, post stuff there. We always reply to that. What do you think about a strategy which starts with co-authoring an article and then post a message? Yeah, I think we just talked about that, right? You can co-author an article. Yeah, we can do that too. You can co-author article, and you can post messages on it. Multiple partners promoting the article first. Yeah, I will tell you the truth. Articles are best for evergreen. They're not the best for driving numbers up. So if you're gonna have an article, I would do a post on the article to drive the article, and then the post would talk about, yeah, would have that good tagline on it, and then you would talk about it, and it would drive a question, and then you can add the link, you know, a little bit later. And but you can co-author it. It wouldn't really matter. Just know that when you post articles, articles are great for centralizing data, centralizing groups of information, and it's good for evergreen. It's not good for driving high numbers.
I'd like to ask a favor of everyone, if you can. If you've gotten value out of today's session, could you make a comment that we could use, and I'll be using it in the next email that goes out to try to get as many people as we possibly can involved in this posting challenge. So I'll take some of the comments that you leave, and please do leave them. It's positive or negative. I won't use the negative ones as a heads up, but the positive ones, if you could share those with us, that would be great. And it'll just help us all, quite frankly. We'll just get more people involved in the posting party, which means you get more reach with your posts and more engagement on your posts. And the commercial. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I tend to ramble along too. So if you're gonna say Troy never shuts up, it's okay. I don't have any feelings. It doesn't really matter. So I don't really care. You know, I care, but not really. Could you please comment on call to action options and how to? Okay, so we'll go through it again. If you need help with post, as soon as you have an account for Beep Together, they'll give you a content calendar with ideas and that sort of thing that will get you ideas going on. But as far as action items for this call, we're going to send you an email or a message, and it'll be a list of everyone to connect with. You probably want to connect with those individuals, number one. Number two, well, it should have been number one. You want to be on that Beep Together network if you can. You know, if you can't, we can use the hashtags, but your engagement would be much different. You know, and then number three, when you're creating your post and content, we'll talk about that tomorrow. And on the Troy Show group message, the LinkedIn DM, if you have any questions, ask it right on there, and I'll do my best to answer. What I tend to use is a Google document. I even have an Excel spreadsheet, but I do that for scheduling. I don't do that for content creation. Thank you, Michelle. I'm glad you learned some stuff. Great tips. Thank you, Troy and Ed. Pleasure. All right. Practical tips. Yeah. So one thing that we're not going to do for you, we're not going to create the post for you. So you have to. No, we'll fix your post.
Wow.
So I want to talk about this. I said,
Bunch
oh yeah,
I
would change the wording like
for
this.
People.
You know, yeah, always create something from the mindset of helping other people. You know, again, and I said this is the fourth time I said it. It's not about what's important to you. It's about what's important to that other individual or that audience.
We will review your post together, you know, to make sure you're formatting it the right way, etc. But typically, like we said, you know, write in the first person, share your passion, some of your personal experience, knowledge. And again, if you're still not sure what it's going to be about, you know, go back to those hashtags that I showed you earlier. You know, find inspiration from what's hot in your industry, what your competitors, your influencers are talking about, and hopefully that will inspire you on putting in your own twist. You know, to using your personal experience.
Yeah.
Thanks for all
Ron.
the wonderful comments. You're making me
Yeah,
blush. You can't
right.
tell because of my skin color, but this is me blushing.
He's Ed's saying because he's black, you're not telling he's blushing. Funny guy. Yeah, I would say honestly, you know, if you need ideas, take a look at the content calendar, take a look at the images I gave. It's on the document. There's a ton of stuff in there. But it's really about like, how did I make someone's day better? What did I do today that will help convert? You know, what did I do today that made someone's day easier? You know, how did I solve this problem? You know, what inspires me? Those are the things you kind of want to post about, because people love, and I learned this from Jean-Michel, because I barely have a personality, but Jean-Michel has told me, you know, Americans, we love, what are those shows called?
The reality shows.
Reality shows. Yeah, we
of
love reality shows,
yeah.
because they take from a aspect of where we are in a bad place into where we are successful. I lived in my car. I lost everything. My wife left me, took my kids, you know. That may be going
You've
too
had a
deep
hard
in a rabbit
life,
hole.
Troy.
Yeah, I have a rough life. And but now I'm a millionaire. So they want to see that story in between. How can it be inspirational? You know, of course we don't want to put any BS in there, because you know, and you don't want to be too detailed, because I was exaggerating. You want to show the scars, but not the wounds. You know, so the scars giving a general idea of where I was at in this place, and then how I overcame this thing. So scars, not wounds. They don't want to know all the gory details, because then it'll turn them off, you know? So you want to be human enough, but not pander, you know, not complain too much, you know? One-tooth Homer. What? I don't know what's going on here. Awesome. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. If anyone has any last questions, I know that I'm not the most inspirational person, but I'm telling you what you do in order to convert. And I do get about a third of my clients through post. And for some people, they do nothing but post, and they get a lot of engagement, and clients do that. But I usually do these network meetings. I do direct messaging and interaction, and I do post. And clients even pay me to run their own posts and things like that for their businesses as well. So posting is a major component to get to large audiences. Awesome. Okay, if it's nothing, I think we're at the half hour, the last few minutes. Unless there's any questions, I'll go ahead and drop off, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. You guys have homework, so we want to see some posts. And we want to help you make those posts better. And we want to prep you for Wednesday for the posting party. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.